Let's begin by telling you that the federal government of Nigeria has announced the commencement of demolition for the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road project. This is according to the Federal Comptroller of Works in Lagos State, Korede Keisha. Keisha revealed that notices have been issued to residents residing within the designated right-of-way, urging them to take necessary actions ahead of the demolition process. This ambitious project aims to connect Lagos to Cross River, spanning a distance of 700 kilometers and crossing through several states. With an estimated cost of 15 trillion naira, the road is poised to transform transportation infrastructure in the region. The first phase of demolition, targeting properties within the initial 3 kilometers, is set to commence this Saturday. And now joining me to discuss this is a public affairs commentator, Dr. Jide Johnson. Dr. Johnson, it's nice to have you around on the news.
And good day to our viewers all over the world. Thank you for having me.
Okay, now, despite several pleas by people and businesses that these projects will affect, the Nigerian government has announced the demolition of obstructing structures. Now, when you take a kaleidoscopic view of this project, do the overall benefit outweigh the possible drawback?
There's no doubt that we need the corridor that links the coastal line of Nigeria together in terms of moving goods and services and in terms of to fast-track economic development. There's no doubt that we need that type of road beyond the one we are having connecting Lagos and Calabar. I recall the one that Shagari was trying to do during the Botched Second Republic, connecting Lagos via Ilaro down to Sokoto State through that corridor too. And I think government should look into that direction. We should have a road network beyond the Lagos-Ibadan Express, which is the major trunk A road which we have. However, the question is the approach and is the timing of this project by government. You may question that, but on the need for it, I can tell you that we have serious need for different roads connecting different parts of this country. You recall that during the First Republic, why the economy was able to grow, being an agrarian economy then, was the railway network connecting the major cities in Nigeria together. And since then, we have not had a comprehensive transportation system connecting the coastal end of Nigeria. Don't forget, railway got to Calabar, got to Enugu, got to Port Harcourt. That's to tell you the importance of road network and road infrastructure to economic development.
Okay, so let's look at the downside now. The beach resorts that will be affected along the mapped route is valued at over $200 million. It is said to be home to over 80 businesses and provides more than 4,000 jobs, generating about 2 billion naira. That's about $1.5 million in annual tax revenue. Now, as a government, because you talked about the approach, now as a government, would it be wise to lose such an existing job creation initiative and revenue stream for a project that you are not even sure when it will be completed?
Well, the federal controller for works, Lagos State, and I listened to a press briefing. I listened to it 3 times to grasp what she said. They were in a hurry. I don't know why government would be in a hurry to complete the project. Now, if you have a corridor and she said the concern is the first 3 kilometers. Now, why are you in a hurry to construct the first 3 kilometers? If that's a difficult corridor, why don't you start with corridors that are simpler for you to start? Why don't you start with corridor there are no businesses from? Today, Lagos is in charge of the federal government. Tomorrow, Lagos might not be in charge of federal government. And I want it to be noted by everybody. There is the ownership of the coastal, because she was providing some details with respect to federal government being the owner of the coastal road, given a certain percentage. I think it was through a decree, either under Babangida administration or Abacha administration. And I knew Lagos State government resisted it, and most of the state with coastal areas resisted that land grab by federal government. If federal government could not grab lands that extended to the desert, why should federal government be coming to grab lands, coastal lands that belong to the state? However, that's a decree that is part of the constitution, and it's left for the Supreme Court to decide on that. But as far as I'm concerned, we could have left the 0 to 3 kilometers, the starting point, and start from 5 kilometers upward, where you don't have to do any demolition, and give this business some time, some gestation period through which they can relocate their businesses and they can minimize their losses. But as far as I'm concerned, you look at what she said, it was more or less like the government is more interested in demolition. She was talking, I listened to it 3 times, she was talking as if she's in a military regime and demolition, we demolish this, we do that, forgetting the fact that this is a democracy, and in democracy, you want to get as many people as possible involved in government, having a buy in government. The optics, you might do it in the interest of larger public interest. What about the optics? What about the optics of doing it? I'm not too sure that the optics favor the government in terms of just coming out, demolishing businesses. Well, in actual sense, if the major concern is 3 kilometers, for heaven's sake, why do you have to destroy businesses worth $200 million?
Interesting.
Employ more than 4,000 people, and then paying taxes to the government? I don't know. You just demolish that and you are going to compensate. Oh my goodness. For me, it's the approach. The project is needed and it is necessary.
Yeah, Dr. Johnson. Dr. Johnson, it's quite interesting that this particular project will be going down this way, and some people have actually thrown a twist into it. Now, some economists have even argued that why expend that much, talking about trillions of naira that will be going into this project on a coastal highway at this time when majority of Nigerian roads are impassable. And some economists have said that it is even a misplaced priority in the first place. So what do you think?
Well, the bottom line is that there's a need, except you have not experienced congestion on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. That's the only trunk A road out of Lagos. If you are going to Calabar from Lagos, you have to ring my road. There's the need for us to have a road network. I've said it. I've said it that the one Lagos to Calabar is needed. The one from Ilaro to Sokoto on that corridor, Ogun State, Oyo State, Kwara State, through Niger, down. I think it was Shagari administration that envisaged that particular project, that conceptualized that project, and that project has been abandoned. So as far as I'm concerned, we can borrow money to build the project, not to put it in private pockets. We can borrow money for now and enjoy it, and we pay for it in the future. Those of us that are alive now will enjoy the project, and those that are alive, they'll be alive in the future, 50, 60 years from now, we also benefit from the project and they'll pay for the project. The important thing is sincerity of government. People have lost faith and hope in government with respect to government intention to doing project. Let me quickly add this. You recall the present administration at the federal level was responsible for Lekki Expressway. That was why the toll was brought after Ozuba and Badiwe, and then at Eleganza. And I can tell you what has happened to that project. So the lack of public trust tends to make a lot of people being skeptical when government comes up with this project. They usually associate it with the White Elephant project.
Okay. So lastly, before I let you go in about 30 seconds, I'd just like to get your reaction because you actually criticized the approach of government. So at this time that the government has put its foot down and said that this is what it's going to do, what do you think at least the Nigerian government can do to mitigate the impact? Because we had a town hall meeting yesterday with people saying that it's going to affect their businesses, their homes will be gone and all that. So now that the government has said this is what it's going to do, what do you think it can do to actually mitigate the effect on them?
I think what the government should do is to start from 4 kilometers upward. Leave the 3 kilometers, give them some time, let them look for ways to relocate their business, move their asset. You don't have to embark on demolition. That's my approach. At least people can still recover their business and reduce and minimize their losses. That's what I think should be done. Okay. Beyond that, mobilizing people for demolition and destroying people's businesses, it does not just make any sense.
Okay. Dr. Jide Johnson, thank you so much for your time on the news.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.